Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to Emergency Management Associates, coming to you from the Area Command 392 miles west of Kitty Hawk Beach, North Carolina. Folks, we've been trying to get on the air since 6 p.m. an hour and a half ago. We got knocked off the internet, and then we lost our entire database. I had to come up and pull up all of the seismic information. I had to pull up all the information that I had planned about talking about tonight, and then I had to reboot our broadcast software and then go over to YouTube and bring up YouTube as well. I'm sorry we're so late. It's already 7:35 Eastern Standard Time. We're sorry about that. Folks, we're going to dispense with the Pledge of Allegiance and the National Anthem tonight. We're going to straight go into what is going on around our world. Folks, there is a lot going on. Okay? First off, let's look at Canada. Last night we told you about a 2.7 magnitude earthquake over in Waltham, Canada, over in Quebec province. Today we have a 2.8 in that exact same location. A 2.8 earthquake over in eastern Canada today. It's uncanny that it would be in the same place as a 2.7 last night. Unreal. I wanted to show you this today because we showed you the earthquake yesterday. This is wild. This is wild. Okay, it continues to happen. It's all over the place, guys. Seismic energy is literally all over the place. It's crazy. It's insane. The information I have to tell you about tonight would turn your hair. It might even turn your hair green. Okay? I don't care where you come from. This is unreal. I haven't seen anything like this in quite some time. Now, when it comes to what's happened over in Iceland, folks, the eruption has stopped. The eruption over in Iceland has stopped. No one thought it would. As of earlier this morning, there were only 3 hot spots with very, very minor fountaining, but now it has stopped. Gosh, how am I going to do this? I know how I'm going to do this. I have one more image to show you tonight in regards to Iceland. It's one of the same images that we've shown you for quite some time over in Iceland. It's a map of southern Iceland. I am floored. I am literally floored as to what is going on. It couldn't be any more weird if I wanted it to be. In fact, if you'll excuse me for just a second, I'm going to load a couple other images here as well. You need to know this information. Without this information, it's almost impossible to know what's going on. To figure out what's going on in Iceland, I have to give you information. If you don't know, what is happening with any of the volcanoes, including over here in Iceland, I'm going to give you just a little bit of an insight. Just a little bit of an insight. It's just weird. It really is. It's just weird. Give me just a second. There's a couple more things I want to bring up here. Let's see here. Okay, I've got them here. The first one I want to show you is that map. Okay, we showed you this last night. There is very little change to it today. This is where the lava field extends from north to south, north of Grindavik. This is about, I want to say 70 miles. The southern end of this lava field is about 70 miles north of Grindavik. Like I said, the eruption has ended for right now. It's not saying that it won't start again, but it has ended right now. We had 3 different eruption cycles. The beginning one was Monday, where we had 4.3 kilometers, over 3 miles of fissure opened up, and it was all on fire. Lava billowing out in fountains going over the landscape as I'm showing you right now. They expected this to continue. The 2 red lines here that you see on your slide here, the 2 red lines are the last places where the fissures were going earlier this afternoon. As of early this morning, it was down to 2 fissures. This afternoon, it finally ended. Both fissures literally dried up. No more magma coming from the fissures, and it looked like it was literally drying up. The lava, literally the lava stopped, and it started hardening. Now, one might say, because it was so cold today in Iceland, that might have been one reason why the lava hardened. That's a possibility. That's a distinct possibility. But I don't think that is the end answer. Now, if and when the lava starts up again, the lava could end up going south. There is a roadway south, or excuse me, there is a roadway north of Grindavik. That roadway, folks, is just outside Grindavik. Right now, we're looking at this southern lava field as being about 70 miles north of Grindavik. If that lava were to continue, as it would be right now if it was still going, there is a possibility that that lava field could possibly reach the road that is a service highway for people, traffic going into Grindavik. But right now, it doesn't look like it's going to happen. Now, I told everybody earlier this week that a decision would be made yesterday, and it was, that residents would not be returning to Grindavik today. Not returning to Grindavik even for Christmas. Okay? They have got the city evacuated, and they've got rescue personnel, law enforcement, first responders, and fire department sitting literally on the outskirts of Grindavik, blocking the entrances, and they have complete control of Grindavik. They're not letting anybody in or out. The fishermen that had been fishing there at the port of Grindavik, they have moved to Reykjavik. The fishermen were escorted to the Reykjavik harbor, so they're no longer in Grindavik right now. They were honestly expecting this lava field to move south, and it has not. The area over at the power station and the Blue Lagoon is still got a wall built around it. Not just a wall, but a berm. They had been building a concrete block wall and an earthen berm. It is still there protecting the Blue Lagoon and the power station. Now, right now, there is no danger. But honestly, the danger may still be there. The land around and underneath the power station is still rising. It is only rising a few centimeters, but it's still rising. That means something else. Let me show you this next slide that I have here. Okay, this shows the magma reservoir, and it's feeding the magma chamber underneath the surface of Iceland. The magma chamber is still pushing up, pushing magma into the magma chamber. And in doing so, that means the ground is rising. Okay? It's uncanny how that works. Okay, I just pulled this slide down so you can see what I'm talking about. The magma chamber is just underneath the surface. Rhyolite lava, basaltic lava. There are actually two types of lava here. Earlier this week, I wasn't sure what kind of lava. We were told that there's basaltic lava. Yes, there is. But we've also found that there's rhyolite lava as well. Two different kinds of lava. Both are pretty viscous, meaning very runny. Okay? So that's why this lava field could have reached Grindavik. That's why this lava field could possibly even reach over to the power plant and over to the Blue Lagoon. Right now, it's not going to happen as of right today, this minute. Okay? This is good news for the people in Grindavik, good news for the entire population of Iceland. If things continue, it is very possible because the ground is rising to the north. The ground is rising to the north of where that northernmost lava field was. Let me bring that back here. Right there. Okay? The ground is still rising there, meaning the magma is still pushing up from underneath the ground. We shall see what happens. Nobody knows. There is no scientific evidence of there being a very real possibility of being another volcanic eruption. It is possible, but we have no scientific evidence showing that there will be an imminent eruption. For right now, the lava has stopped. Okay, literally. It's incredible. Nobody thought it was going to happen. Okay, the scientists I spoke to and a lot of other people that I have been watching and listening and waiting, it's not happening. People being very surprised at what has happened. Now, things may still change. The scientists there are even designing what ifs. What if maps? Where would be the next eruption? Or are these fissures going to open back up? Or is there going to be another fissure open up closer to Grindavik? Or even over near the power plant? Nobody knows. Okay? Only time will tell what's happening. Lisa Spencer says Iceland is only beginning. I believe that. There hasn't been a huge eruption in Iceland for over 200 or 300 years. Yes, they've had smaller eruptions, like in 2020, again in 2021, and last year in 2022, further south than what we're seeing now. Everything can change. It literally could change in the drop of a hat. But right now, everybody has got their fingers crossed. The people in Iceland the people in Grindavik, Iceland, are still hoping beyond hope that they can return home to their homes very soon. As of earlier this morning, no. But now things may have changed. We'll see. The possibility is that the lava could continue, or there may be a new eruption around the power plant. Like I said, the ground around the power plant is rising. Underneath the power plant, it's still rising. Infill. Magma infill into the magma chamber. That's what's causing this. We've explained this before with other volcanoes. It's an unknown thing right now. We honestly don't know. Does anybody have any questions about anything we've said so far? I want to make sure that everybody understands what is happening. There's been a huge expanse, a huge population of people that have had questions, and I don't want to leave any questions unanswered. Okay? It's crazy. Lisa Spencer's here saying the whole Atlantic Ridge is ripping and coming up. You're absolutely right. We've explained that. The Atlantic Ridge, the middle of the Atlantic, has a huge earthquake fault. The Mid-Atlantic Ridge, it's expanding. It's expanding, meaning it's ripping open. The Atlantic Ridge is expanding, pushing the North American continent in a southwesterly direction. It's pushing Europe in an easterly direction. The Atlantic Ocean is expanding. The area of the Atlantic Ocean is expanding. I don't think anyone can completely say they understand it. This is new news. Up until about 2 years ago even, nobody even could say they understood this. It was conjecture. Now it's a proven fact. Okay? Every one of the plates around the world are moving. Every one of the tectonic plates are moving. And there's no way to stop it. There's no way to stop it. Recently, we had a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake northeast of Mindanao Island, Philippines. Okay? No one could have thought of that. Prior to that, all we had at the most was 7.4 magnitude quakes in southern Davao, Philippines, on Mindanao, Philippines Island. Nobody even could fathom that we'd have a 9.0, 10.0 earthquake just off the northeast coast of Mindanao, Philippines. Okay? It's all changing. Everything is literally changing every day that we're living. Okay? There's no other way to better explain what's going on. Okay? There really isn't. I've looked at this. I've been studying it. Last night I was up till about 2:30 in the morning going over images, going over scientific documents that have been sent to me. Nobody even could figure out what was going on. The scientists still didn't know what's going on. It's uncanny what has been happening. Literally uncanny. Let me show you this. Okay? This is Mexico today. Southern Mexico. 16 earthquakes. There's probably even more now. Probably close to 18 or 19 earthquakes down here in southern Mexico. No one expected to see this. All we have here are 4 3s and 4s. There are about 7 4.0, 4.3 earthquakes. Moderate earthquakes down here in southern Mexico. USGS and EMSC have been denying or just not publishing the information. Today, the EMSC came up with this. Okay? 6 to 7 4.0 and large earthquakes. Nothing 5.0 at all. 4.0 to 4.6, 4.7 earthquakes in southern Mexico. There is also a bunch of 3s, 3.0 to 3.9. Okay? 16 to 18 earthquakes here in southern Mexico. Finally, we're seeing activity here. They've refused to tell us what's going on. Who would have known? Who would have known? We have to keep our eye on the ball. We can't stop taking our eye off the ball. Now, four years ago, December 24th, 2019, I was monitoring with Terry Rempel the seismic activity off the northwest coast of Vancouver Island. That night there were 4 7.0 earthquakes off the northwest coast of Vancouver Island. We thought that the Cascadia megathrust earthquake was about to happen. Though the number of major earthquakes, 7.0 and above, none of them went over 7.0, but 4 major earthquakes happened that night. Those 4 7.0 earthquakes could have triggered the Cascadia. Terry and I were praying. We were praying with every fiber of our souls, praying that the Lord would spare major earthquake happening on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day. It looked like it was going to happen. It did not. Now, 4 years later, we're in a position where anything could happen. But the problem with that is our agency is not even telling us the truth anymore, not even coming close to telling us the truth. Nowhere close to telling us the truth. Sad. It's very sad. We can't trust the agency at all. Folks, it's hard to even tell you what's going on when the agency lies to us. The agency out and out lies to us every day. Literally every cotton picking day. They don't tell us the truth. Right now, down here off the coast, the central coast of Honshu, Japan, this shows a 5.1 earthquake. Isn't it interesting that it would show a 5.1 earthquake? Why are they not telling us the truth? Why are they not telling us the truth? There are actually 2 5.0, 5.1 earthquakes. One of them happened at 9:04 this morning. The other one happened at 11:11 this morning. 11 minutes after 11 a.m. this morning. Why is it the USGS is showing us 1? Inquiring minds want to know. Then, at 9:51 a.m. this morning, in the central Aleutian Islands, let me show you this earthquake. The central Aleutian Islands here. This is actually south of Aveyah. This is a very strong 6.1 earthquake. A 6.1 very strong earthquake hit at 9:51 a.m. this morning. Since then, they've given us 2 other aftershocks. This one is also a 5.0. I told you there were 2 5.0s. I mean 1 5.0 here. Unreal. Unfrickin' real. This 5.0 was 116 miles, or I'm sorry, not miles, 116 kilometers southeast of Aveyah. That happened at 14:28 hours this afternoon, 2:28 p.m. this afternoon. Then we have another earthquake. This is a 4.6 earthquake. This is 30 miles deep, 31 miles deep. A 4.6, 116 kilometers southeast of Aveyah. Very close to this other one. But this is a 4.6. So we've actually had 2 aftershocks here. 2 aftershocks. Does it get any better than that? Unfortunately, no. Folks, I am surprised that we've had only 2 aftershocks. I believe the agencies, again, are not giving us the full scoop. They don't want us to know what's going on. We've talked about this before. I can't be more honest than having information that we have in front of us. Literally. Okay? This is where it happened. The Central Aleutian Island Fault Zone. Okay? We can go east. Never in my life have I only seen 3 earthquakes over here in Alaska. 3 earthquakes. This one here, a 2.5, east of Port Ellsworth, Alaska. It's actually west. Again, USGS can't get its head out of its butt. This is west of Port Ellsworth. Then further north here, a 3.2 near Nilichik, Alaska. A 3.2. Then we come up further north here. This is southern Denali National Park. USBS is calling it 18 kilometers west of Petersville, Alaska. Folks, it's on the east side of Denali National Park. The southeast side of Denali National Park. A 2.8 minor earthquake. These are not the only earthquakes that hit here. These are only the earthquakes that they want to tell us about. Plain and simple. I have never in my life had the agency that I used to trust continually to deceive us. Continually and honestly deceiving us. They know darn well there are more earthquakes here than they're saying. As soon as I have contact with someone in Alaska that tells me that they felt something, I'm going to report it. There was a time that I had 3 people over around and near Anchorage that gave me information and sent me pictures of the earthquake that hit here. Yes, it was a 7.0 earthquake in Anchorage. And we had plenty of coverage because no one else was reporting it because they couldn't get information out of Anchorage. But I was getting text messaging. I was getting pictures sent to me out of Anchorage. It's incredible. And after that, the mainstream media started showing earthquake out of Anchorage, a 7.0. Major earthquake. And it had snow on the ground. Fissures had opened up in and around Anchorage. We all saw it. We all saw it. Heidi Petrick just gave us another $5 super chat. Thank you so much, Heidi. We appreciate that. God bless you for that. Honestly, we really, really appreciate that so much. Folks, before I go on, I want to thank you for all your support. I want to also encourage you to check and make sure you're still subscribed to our channel. YouTube continues to unsubscribe people. I've been watching. I've seen 25 people that no longer are subscribed to our channel. I do not believe that the people unsubscribe. I'm telling you and asking you all to check your subscriptions and make sure you're still subscribed to our channel. And when you do that, when you click on the button to subscribe, right next to it is another button. There is a little bell icon in a circle. Click on that little bell icon. When you click on the little bell icon, it will show you a drop-down menu of 3 items. Click on the word ALL. That should get you notified when we come on the air. We appreciate that, guys. We really do. Now, notice down here in the South Pacific, we have no earthquakes reported whatsoever. Not one. Not even one. Over here in South America, I want to show you this. Here is a 5.0 over here in the Pampas region of Peru. By Pampas, I'm calling this a farming area. The Pampas in Portuguese here is called farming land, the Pampas. This is west of the Andes Mountains. Okay? In the past, when you have earthquakes in the Andes, it is because the Andes Mountains are the edge of the plate of South America, the western edge of the plate in South America. But this has nothing to do with it. This is over here in the eastern Pampas. Okay? It's near this river. Frequently, when we have earthquakes near rivers, it's because the rivers are an earthquake fault in and of itself. That may be the cause of this earthquake here. Needless to say, this is a large 5.0. It may have caused a lot of damage here in Peru. We don't have any reports of damage or injuries right now. But a 5.0 earthquake can be a very damaging earthquake depending on where it hits. But it's not the only earthquake here in South America. Let's go further south. Let's go over here to northern Chile, Tocopilla, Chile. We've had very large earthquakes here in this area. Folks, this is a 5.7 very large earthquake. The 5.0, 5.9 are considered to be large earthquakes. 5.5 to 5.9 are very large earthquakes. This is a 5.7. This could do considerable damage on land. This one is along the coastline of Chile. Okay? 22 kilometers north-northwest of Tocopilla, Chile. Folks, we don't have any reports of damage or injuries here. This is just barely along the coastline. While this is in the ocean here, typically when earthquakes are in the ocean, the seismic energy is absorbed by the ocean waters. This is too close to the shoreline to have done that. If this energy was absorbed by the ocean, it was only a very small part of it. This is still a 5.7 earthquake, just barely off the coast of Tarapacá, Chile. Tarapacá is the region, the province of Chile. This is a very strong earthquake. As soon as we get more information from this area, we will report it to you. But folks, they're not reporting much here. Down south, this is a 4.7 moderate earthquake here. Again, it's on land, but right next to the coastline. Okay? 26 kilometers southwest of Valdese, Chile. We've had earthquakes here before. A lot of earthquakes here before. But these are the only ones that are being reported right now. This area, for the most part, is in the foothills of the mountains here, the Andes Mountains. Now, while there may be people living in some parts of the area, like over here, these people felt that earthquake. Moderate seismic energy. We've explained moderate energy before. Moderate energy can do moderate damage. It can knock books off of shelves. It can knock knickknacks off of shelves as well. It can rattle plates. It can open and close cupboards. It can knock pictures off of walls. This area could be susceptible to this earthquake here. But again, we have no confirmation information that would say that there's damage or injury here from this earthquake as well. We don't know. We don't know. As soon as we do know, we'll pass it on. But earthquakes in this area, Who would have thunk? Folks, there are a lot more earthquakes here than they're showing, of course. We typically have 15 to 20 earthquakes here in South America. They're showing 3, one of them being a very damaging 5.7 earthquake. Why are they not showing that? What is wrong with them? That's what I want to ask. Why are they not showing the information? They didn't. USGS is still not showing the earthquakes in southern Mexico, but the EMSC is. What's up with that? Okay? Inquiring minds want to know. Over here in Southern California, folks, this earthquake is off of Baja California here. This is a 3.2 near Primo Tapia, Baja California, just off the coast. Okay? Over here, this is Ensenada, Mexico. So this is just northwest of Ensenada, Mexico. A 3.2 small earthquake. This is 21 kilometers deep. 21 kilometers deep. Now, down here in Southern California, they're not showing any earthquakes whatsoever in Southern California. There might be reasons for that. The reason being there is a very strong Pacific Coast storm pounding California right now. San Diego, Los Angeles, and up here in the Santa Barbara area. Earlier today we heard from Tony, Sagepup. Parts of Santa Barbara were flooded. Down the street from Sagepup's house, he said they could have taken a canoe and floated out of there. Very heavy rains all throughout this area. They're going to continue for a few more days. This is Christmas time. People are supposed to be celebrating the birth of Christ, purchasing and wrapping presents. They can't possibly be doing this when they're facing flooding throughout this area. It's all over. USBS only showing one earthquake over here in Hamilton City, California. A minor 2.7 earthquake. They're not showing any earthquakes whatsoever except for that. What's up with that? Going to the northeast, Stanley, Idaho. Stanley, Idaho. This is the western edge of the Yellowstone magma chamber. It's also here in the Snake River Valley, which has earthquake faults. This is a 2.6 in Stanley, Idaho. Further north in Salmon, Idaho. Again, this is the western edge of the Yellowstone magma chamber. They also have a few earthquake faults here. This is a 2.8 earthquake. Okay? They're not showing much. We go further east. Kansas. Good old Kansas. A 3.1 earthquake here in Kansas. Who would have thunk? Who would have thunk? This is in Asaria, Kansas, guys. 7 kilometers east of Asaria. And for once, I think it is east of Asaria. The reason I say that is this is the only community anywhere near this earthquake. Folks, if we go out here, I don't see too much of anything telling me that we have oil and gas pumping operations here. This looks to me like the center of a city. I don't see any pumps and jacks anywhere here. This may be because there are earthquake faults here in Kansas, and that's what I think this earthquake was, alongside an earthquake fault. A 3.1 here in Asaria, Kansas. Yes, there are pumping operations in Kansas, just not there. Further south, Lindsay, Oklahoma. We've visited Lindsay, Oklahoma before regarding earthquakes. This is a 2.5 here. A 2.5 earthquake 6 kilometers northeast of Lindsay, Oklahoma. This happens to be also 17 kilometers deep here. 17 kilometers deep, right smack dab in the middle of an oil field. That's what this is. Right smack dab in the middle of an oil field. This is an oil and gas fracking operation earthquake. A 2.5 near Lindsay, Oklahoma today. Now, I'm going to put USGS to bed. They're worthless. They're absolutely stinking worthless. I'll put them to bed right now. I have seismograms to show you in Washington and Oregon. We need to take a look at those seismograms. Seismograms tell us a story. Literally. I'm going to start here with Mount Rainier. This is Camp Muir. Camp Muir. Folks, this is the HGM or HHN channel. The HHN channel shows us that there is magma coming into the magma chamber here at Mount Rainier. Okay? Look at it. It's plain and simple stating what's going on. Okay? You can't get any more simple than this. The wavy lines here are depicting magma coming into the magma chamber. The wavy lines are VOF radio frequencies. Very low radio frequencies generated by moving magma inside the magma channel here at this volcano. Now, let's go down here further. See this earthquake? Folks, this is a 4.5 earthquake at Mount Rainier. You can see other tremors here as well, and up here to the left here. Okay, that's appearing to be a 2.5 earthquake. It's not showing on the USGS map. They're not showing anything. See this really wavy line here? Just before 8 o'clock? Folks, this is that earthquake over in Alaska. That 6.1 earthquake in Alaska. Laura Marie just gave us a $10 super chat. Thank you so much, Laura Marie. God bless you. Folks, yesterday, I don't remember whether Laura was here or not. Yesterday, we had gone to the post office. Laura and her husband John sent us a beautiful card, and I showed it to you yesterday. I want to thank her for that card. It was very beautiful. She just gave us another $10 super chat. Laura, thank you. God bless you. We appreciate you very much. We really do. You and Heidi Petrick coming forth with super chat donations. God bless you for that. We love and appreciate you so much. That means the world to us. But folks, we see activity here at Mount Rainier. And it's not the only one here. It's not the only seismogram here. Let me show you some more. What I have found out blows my mind. It really blows my mind. Here is another seismogram showing nothing but the camp, nothing involving the magma chamber, nothing involving moving magma coming into the volcano. But here is that 4.5, 4.7 earthquake at Mount Rainier here. And you can clearly see the Alaska earthquake when it hit. It's very apparent what happened this morning. Okay, it's showing up on the seismograms. Okay, and you can see these other tremors, and also I believe that 2.4, 2.5 earthquake that happened just after 5:17 a.m. this morning, something like that. Okay, I think I have another one here at Mount Rainier. Yes, I do. In fact, I've got a couple more here at Mount Rainier. This is Mount Rainier Panhandle. This is on the east flank of Mount Rainier. Okay, look what we have here. Let's go up here to the start of this. The seismogram here started at midnight. Okay, all we can see here is magma infill. Okay, magma infill. The magma pulse signals begin thin and get thicker and get thinner again. Okay, magma pulse signals, incoming magma into the volcano. Okay, this seismograph was turned way down. It's very apparent because these lines are fairly thin. But I showed you the HHN channel at Camp Muir. The HHN channel at Camp Muir shows a lot of magma coming into the magma chamber. So because of that, we can compare those two seismograms, and we can see on this seismogram that they've turned the machine down, way down. Okay, here, the Panhandle. This is a complete separate earthquake. This earthquake hit just after 10:42 a.m. this morning. 10:42 a.m. this morning. Look at this. It's a thick earthquake. Thick because there were so many earthquakes hitting at the same time that there is literally no distinguishable fact showing separate earthquakes. They were back to back to back. And if we look over on the right hand side, we see a triangle that formed, right? That triangle that formed happens to show us a secondary wave. A secondary wave of earthquakes. That secondary wave would be an indicating factor that this earthquake was larger than they're saying it is. Number one, the top and the bottom of this earthquake signal was cut off. So the agency definitely does not want us to know how strong this earthquake was. But when we can look at the total overall picture of the seismic waves here, we can see here by the secondary wave that this earthquake is a lot larger than they're saying it is. Okay? This secondary wave is nearly 40 seconds to 1 minute long. The secondary wave lasted about a minute, which means this earthquake probably, I'm saying probably, was at least a 3.5 to 3.8, possibly a 4.0. Okay? That's what we're looking at here. And them trying to hide that information, what kind of crap is that? Now, we move down here to this afternoon. Just after 3 p.m. this afternoon, about 3 or 4 p.m. this afternoon, we have another earthquake. Again, they chopped off the top and the bottom of it, hacked it off. Heaven forbid we know the truth of what's going on. This earthquake in and of itself is larger than the other one this morning. Okay? Look at the overall earthquake. How long did the primary wave last? The primary wave lasted about 2 minutes. This is a volcano. The secondary wave, folks, the secondary wave lasted an additional 4.5 minutes. Folks, this is probably a 5.0 earthquake here at Mount Rainier today. Is there anybody here from the Seattle area that would tell me that they felt shaking in the Seattle-Tacoma area? Is there anybody here in the chat tonight that could tell me that they felt earthquake energy, seismic energy in the Seattle-Tacoma area? You would have to have. You would almost have to have felt this earthquake. This is a big event. Okay, look at the secondary wave, how it stretches out for about 5 minutes. You cannot have an earthquake of this size and have a secondary wave that is as long as this if it wasn't big. And this one was a big earthquake. Okay? Crazy. It literally is crazy. Then we come down here. Okay? Over on the right side. Over on the right side. On the left-hand side, it would be 7:15. Over here on the right side, or not 7:15, I'm sorry, 5:15. Over on the right side, folks, this is 5:29 p.m. this afternoon. This is also the beginning of a big earthquake. They've cut off the bottom and the top here as well. This may have been a 4.0 earthquake. At least. At least. Over here at 17:30, 5:30 p.m. Again, we have a secondary wave, and that secondary wave is over 1+ minutes long. That tells me that what we're seeing here is at least a 4.0 earthquake. At least. At least. We've had a lot of earthquakes here at Mount Rainier today, right? Oh yeah, we absolutely have. Now, while I'm showing you this earthquake, let me bring this back down into some kind of shape here so I can show you what I'm going to show you next. All that energy here at Mount Rainier, there's more here than meets the eye, literally. Okay? Let me show you what's going on here. Folks, this is a spectrogram at the panhandle. Look at the heat rising toward the surface here. The lighter blue colors is the heat that's rising to the surface from the magma. There is a lot of magma rising here. Okay? Again, this is a big deal. Aubrey's asking, missed that magnitude, could you repeat it? The last earthquake was at least a 4.0. The one prior, or just prior to that, could have been possibly a 5.0 earthquake at Mount Rainier. The one before that could have been a 3.8 to 4.0. 3 good-sized earthquakes at Mount Rainier today. Okay? This spectrogram tells us, or shows us, there's heat rising from this magma here. There's a lot of magma there, right? This surely shows that. Jamie Wilkie says that she's been getting a lot more headaches as well. That would make sense. That would make sense. There's a lot of activity here, guys. There's a heck of a lot of activity. And it's not going away. It's not going away. I'm sorry I didn't enlarge this picture so you can see it. This shows all the heat. These lighter blue colors of the heat rising from the magma headed to the surface. Mount Rainier may have a large amount of snow fall off the mountain today or in the near future. with this kind of magma inside the volcano and this kind of heat that you see here on the spectrogram, we may have another huge landslide, is what they called it before. It wasn't. Folks, they try to conceal information. They doctor information. There is no reason for them hiding it. They need to be honest with what's going on. Plain and simple. Plain and simple. Let me show you Camp Sherman. Again, this seismogram starts at midnight last night. You can see a bunch of tremors here, can't you? Tremor after tremor after tremor. Then over here, see this light blue rectangle here? This is a magma churn signal. Magma churn signals typically are 23 to 24 lines high. This magma churn signal is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines high. 26% of real world. Just about 26% of real world. Okay? This seismogram shows us 26% of what's really going on. To the right and to the top of that, you see a tremor. It's a wide tremor, somewhat wide tremor. Folks, this could be a 1.7, 1.8 tremor. Multiply that times 4. Times 4. This was probably a 2.8 earthquake, not a 1.8. Okay? Over at the magma churn signal, you see vertical lines going out to the right. Those vertical lines are steam signals. That is steam lifting off from the mountain, Mount Rainier. Mount Rainier is steaming. Mount Rainier is steaming. Look at the other earthquakes here at Mount Rainier today. Camp Sherman. Plenty of earthquakes. You see a lot of vertical lines. If the vertical lines do not have a dot in the middle of them, those are steam signals. The vertical lines with a dot in them are earthquakes. Earthquakes. There are a lot of tremors and there are a lot of earthquakes here at Mount Rainier. Plain and simple. This area is moving. Again, I'm going to tell you this. Every time I go over here to Mount Rainier, every time I start pulling seismograms at Mount Rainier, at Mount St. Helens, at Mount Hood, I see volcanoes that are about to burst. When we see 5.0 earthquakes at Mount Rainier, and yes, we saw one today, when we see large earthquakes at Mount Rainier, it is time to really consider what is going on in the Pacific Northwest. A 5.0 earthquake could be a signal of that volcano erupting. It could be a signal that there may be a volcanic eruption at Mount Rainier. We've all seen what's going on. This seismogram alone, the seismograph was turned down to only 26% of real world. They're not showing us all the information. They're just not. They have no intention of being truthful about any of this. They haven't been in a very long time. I hate saying that, but it's true. Let's go down south and talk about Mount St. Helens. Look at Mount St. Helens, guys. This is Sugar Bowl on Mount St. Helens. This is the north side of the rim of the crater. sugar bowl. Look what we're seeing. From the very beginning this morning, just after actually the top of this one is 2300 hours, which is 11 p.m. From the very beginning here, we're seeing tremors. We're seeing a lot of tremors. We're also seeing a great deal of magma coming into the magma chamber. Each of these lines is showing magma pulse signals. Incoming magma. Magma infill. The magma infill is causing earthquakes and tremors. The incoming magma here is coming in under pressure. The magma is coming in under pressure and it's fracturing rock inside the volcano, causing these earthquakes. That is what's going on here. Okay? That's really what's going on here. Now you do see a good sized earthquake here. Okay? Let's back up here. We do not see any magma churn signals here. But knowing what the other magma or what the other seismograms are showing us, this has probably been turned down just as far. Okay? We're seeing tremors all over. We're seeing a great deal of magma coming into the magma chamber here. This is Mount St. Helens. This earthquake that we're seeing here, this is just about 7:50 a.m. this morning. Looking at this by itself, in and of itself, this would probably be a 2.4, 2.5 earthquake. But knowing what we know, that this seismogram is turned so far down, this may also be a 3.5, 3.8 earthquake. I'm just saying. They cut off the bottom and the top of this seismogram as well, or seismic signal. They cut off the bottom and the top of it. Look out to the right. This secondary wave here goes out for over a minute. This would also indicate a much larger earthquake. This could be a 4.0. I'm going to say it's realistically at least a 3.5. Just saying. And the earthquake just above that to the right, that's probably a 3.0, considering what we know. Look at all this other magma coming into the magma chamber here. You see thicker lines here. You see lines where we have a thicker signal. More magma. A burst of magma. So on some of these lines you're seeing small vertical lines as well. The horizontal lines are here and they represent a 15-minute time period, each and every one of them. The vertical lines, however, are a result of magma fracturing rock inside the magma chamber here at Mount St. Helens. Okay? Look what we're showing you. Earthquake after earthquake, tremor after tremor. Magma coming into this magma chamber here at Mount St. Helens. Mount St. Helens is very active. Let there be no doubt about it. Mount St. Helens is very, very active. Okay? Mount St. Helens could erupt at any time, whether they want to tell people about it or not. This is a fact. Anytime we have this much activity at a volcano, this is showing extraordinary activity, and they're not telling anybody about it. They are showing risky activity, to say the least. Let me show you at least one more seismogram here. The next seismogram I'm going to show you is going to show, where is it here? Let's see here. Okay, this one here. This is Rembrandt. Rembrandt is to the south of Mount St. Helens, on the southern flank of Mount St. Helens. This is the HHN channel. Okay, each of these seismographs have different channels. Some of them are 5, some of them are 7-channel seismographs. This particular one, I believe, is a 5-channel seismograph. What we're seeing here is the VOF channel, the VOF wave channel. This is showing the magma coming into the magma chamber here at Mount St. Helens. Look at this up at the top. This is huge, guys. This is huge. Look at these tight waves. Tight waves are showing a lot of magma coming into this volcano this morning and last night. Okay? This seismogram starts at 5 p.m. Pacific time. From 5 p.m. till early morning hours, there is a lot of magma coming into this volcano. And it's still coming in later on today. But last night and this morning, there was a lot of magma coming in here. That could indicate that this volcano is getting ready. The other earthquakes here at Mount St. Helens would definitely show that this magma chamber here is ready for a possible eruption. Mount St. Helens heating has gone up. The seismic events have gone up. We continue to see that. Let me show you this. This is EDM. This is the East Dome. Look at the earthquakes hitting here. Up at the top, we have a magma churn signal, don't we? Let me take a drink of water. This magma churn signal would tell us the whole story. Okay, literally. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines high. Again, magma churn signal should be 23 to 24 lines high. This is 7. It means that this seismograph was turned down to 25 to 27% of real world. 26% of real world. What is happening? The vertical lines off to the right of that magma churn signal are again steam signals. Steam is coming out of the volcano. We know that. We have seen pictures of steam clouds above Mount St. Helens. It happens almost every day. Literally. Down here below that, okay? In this case, this is just approximately 7, I want to say 7:11 a.m. this morning. What's going on? Folks, we have another earthquake here. Mount St. Helens. What a deal. East Dome Mount St. Helens. Now, what we see here are two different colors. The lighter blue is 7:15. That's a separate earthquake. The dark blue is 7:11. Just about 7:11. The top and the bottom of this earthquake have been cut off as well. This earthquake lasted about 15 to 20 seconds. We also have a small secondary wave, that triangle out to the right. That triangle out to the right lasts about 10 seconds. Folks, in and of itself, this earthquake could have been a 2.5. Knowing that this seismograph has been turned down to about 26% of real world, now we're looking to this earthquake and it's probably 4.0. 4.0 earthquake at Mount St. Helens. Then the lighter blue earthquake after that. It's on the 715 line on the left-hand side. Coming all the way over here, it's a different story. This, folks, is about 7:25 a.m. this morning. This is a lot larger than what's showing before that. Okay? This, folks, is probably a 4.5 earthquake. Just saying. If the other earthquake was a 4, this is probably a 4.5. It's longer in reach. Okay? And as you can see, these other earthquakes here, Mount St. Helens is showing activity. A lot more activity than you would normally think so. Okay? They're just not showing them. Arkansas Bluesman says, have your gas masks and bug out bags at the ready. I would have to agree. I'd have to honestly agree with that. You folks that are near any of these volcanoes, do you have your bug out bags ready? Have any of you even written your emergency preparedness plans? If you haven't, I would start doing that almost immediately, if not sooner. Any one of these volcanoes could erupt, and I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding about that one little bit. Especially Rainier and Mount St. Helens. Look at this earthquake this afternoon here at Mount St. Helens. This happened after about 3:03, 3:04 this afternoon. Well, we don't seem to have a height problem with this. A height problem would be a large earthquake. I don't believe this is anything more than a 3. We have, out to the right, a secondary wave. That is why I'm calling this a 3.0. The secondary wave lasts 4 minutes. For 4.5 minutes. The secondary wave tells us a lot about what's going on here and how strong that earthquake was. USGS doesn't have to honestly tell us anything. All we have to look at is the data, and it tells us the rest of the story. Down here towards the bottom of this seismogram, this is information from this evening. You see these vertical lines without dots in them. These are steam signals here. Some of these lines have curlicues on them. Those are definitely steam signals here. Mount St. Helens is steaming. And down here at the bottom is another magma channel, or not magma channel, magma churn signal. Look at all the magma coming in here at the bottom of this seismogram. This tells you the whole story. Mount St. Helens is moving. Mount St. Helens is beginning to go through the final phase prior to another eruption. You don't see this kind of information at a volcano if it's not getting ready to erupt. Okay? Plain and simple. You're just not going to see it. Mount St. Helens, Elk Rock. This is off to the northwest of Mount St. Helens. We're seeing the same kind of activity here. Look at this. Look at this magma signal here. All kinds of earthquakes here. The magma is coming in under pressure into Mount St. Helens. It's causing earth fracturing, rock fracturing inside the volcano. That's what it's showing here. That's what we're seeing, guys. Then down here at the bottom, we're seeing more earthquakes and also steam signals here. Look at that. It's moving. It's moving in a big way. Here's Trade Dollar Lake. Look at this. This is also to the northwest of Mount St. Helens, showing us the exact same thing. The vertical lines inside this magma here. Okay? The magma has completely obliterated the white paper beneath it. Yes, this is digital. This is digital. But the effect is the same thing. The magma coming into Mount St. Helens is fracturing rock inside the volcano. We can't ignore this. We cannot ignore this. And USGS should not be ignoring this either. This, but folks, is also a USGS seismogram. USGS say they get their information from the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. This is a USGS seismogram, showing you the same thing that we've been telling you from the other seismograms. Fact. Fact. Let me show you what's going on at Mount Hood. Okay? It's hard to pull up information about Mount Hood today. Okay? Why? Because they're hiding the information. Not just USGS, but also the Pacific Northwest Seismic Network. This is Palmer Lift. This is about halfway up the side of Mount Hood on the south side. Palmer Lift is a ski resort, a ski lift. Look what's going on here. We're definitely seeing seismic signals here. The seismograph has been turned so far down we're not hardly seeing any activity in the late afternoon yesterday till the early morning hours today. But let's look at 1 a.m. this morning. 1 a.m. this morning is where we definitely see magma coming into the magma chamber. With the seismograph turned so far down and the thicker line here at 1 a.m., this is telling us that there's a lot more magma than they're showing here on the seismogram. A lot more. If this had been turned up to real world, 100%, we might not see any white around 1 a.m. this morning. That's how much magma would be in here. We're already seeing vertical lines through the magma, rock fracturing inside the volcano. Mount Hood. Mount Hood, folks. We're also seeing some decent sized earthquakes over here at I'm going to say 2:28 a.m. this morning. First, it looks like a 2.3, 2.4 earthquake, and after that, it gets larger. Okay? Maybe 2.4, 2.5 earthquake. Minor earthquake. Then we come down here to later today. Look at that. This is a rat-a-tat-tat signal. At Palmer Lift, we've understood that they have some, what shall we say, they're trying to obtain steam from Mount Rainier. These rat-a-tat-tat signals at Palmer Lift basically indicate the rat-a-tat-tat of a drill drilling into Mount Hood here. That's what we're seeing here. They've been doing the drilling to pull steam from the volcano here at Mount Hood for some time. So none of this is really surprising to me. Not at all. They've been drilling into Mount Hood for a very long time. Let's pull up the next seismogram here at Mount Hood. Okay, this one is at Timberline. This is on the southern part of the volcano. The southern part of the volcano. First off, excuse me, sorry about that. Didn't mean to sneeze in your ear. Look what we're showing you here. Up at the top of this, guys, this is yesterday afternoon. We don't usually see this kind of activity because they edit it out. They did not edit this out at all today. Look at this. Magma coming into the magma chamber. And what else? We're seeing rock fracturing here in the center of the seismogram. A lot of rock fracturing. Now we can't actually see the other side of this signal. It would be on the day before. And I checked, and they have completely taken yesterday off the records. The Pacific Northwest Seismic Network has edited most of the seismograms back until December 18th. Today is December 21st. 3 days of edited seismograms, taking them down. Okay? But we're still seeing this kind of activity. Look here this afternoon. This is what we normally saw here 3 years ago. We're seeing a lot of magma activity. We're also seeing earth tremors. Tremors here at the volcano. Folks, 2.5 years ago, back in September 2.5 years ago, there were so many tremors and earthquakes at Mount Hood that scientists thought that Mount Hood was going to erupt. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was talking about it that day. There was 125 earthquakes, not just tremors. 125 earthquakes at Mount Hood. Timberline on the south flank, the south side of the mountain. Look at the activity here. All of this is tremor activity, except for the black line on the right center. That is an earthquake. That earthquake started just after, I want to say 11 a.m. this morning. It might have been a 2.3, 2.4, but it lasted 2 minutes. The seismic energy kept on moving for 2 straight minutes. We already see tremor activity all over this. Folks, what I'm saying, this is echoing what we thought we were seeing 3 years ago. Mount Hood, Mount St. Helens, Mount Rainier looks and appears to be that these volcanoes are about to erupt. Plain and simple. I can't make it any more simple than that. You're seeing the evidence here. And yet, on the USGS map today, they didn't show one iota of seismic energy in the Pacific Northwest. They didn't show anything all the way down this coast of California. They showed one lousy earthquake in the Sierra Nevada mountains. One. That's all. Now, I can accept part of the excuse as the devices may have gotten wet or the weather may have interrupted the signals. I can see that if the seismographs were out in the weather. One seismograph at Crater Lake is there. It's on the side of the crater of the mountain. An island, Wizard Lake, or Wizard Island. That seismograph is exposed to the weather. Now, I don't know, and I have no way of telling how much of these seismographs are exposed to the weather. Knowing what I see here, this is disgusting. This is disgusting because they are not showing us what's going on. They have no intention of showing us what's going on. Richard Smith is talking about 2.4 in Greece, not surprising. He also talked about that 4.8 off the coast of Honshu. Yeah, off the coast of Honshu today. Not surprising at all. Two earthquakes, a 5.0 and a 4.8 off of Honshu today. Why are they not showing both earthquakes? Because they've taken one down. Heaven forbid we are given true, concise information anymore. They're just not showing it. They're not showing it, guys. Now, I'm coming to the end of this program, or we are coming to the end of this program. I have always been one to share information with you. We're in the Christmas season. We are entering the time period right before the celebration of Christ's birth on the 25th. I have a lot to say. A lot to say. I'm showing you a picture of Joseph. Now, yes, this is an artist's depiction of what it might have looked like of Joseph bringing Mary to Bethlehem. Joseph was highly esteemed of the Lord. Highly, highly esteemed of the Lord. There is a scripture in the first chapter of Matthew. I want to show you that scripture. Matthew chapter 1, verses 20 and 21. Joseph was highly esteemed of the Lord. What it says, Joseph, fear not to take unto thee Mary thy wife, for that which is conceived in her is of the Holy Ghost, that she shall bring forth a son. Thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins. What a beautiful thing. What a beautiful tribute to the man named Joseph. Now, I had a lot of other things I wanted to discuss with you, but that will wait until tomorrow. This is important. In my mind, and I think in most people's minds, God chose Joseph to raise his son Jesus Christ. His great faith in the Lord is an example for each of us to follow as we live according to God's plan. Just think how much our Heavenly Father trusted Joseph. He trusted Joseph to raise his son, his beloved son, with loving care. He trusted Joseph to bring that wonderful woman to Bethlehem, to pay taxes. That's how come they were on their way to Bethlehem. Mary was with child. At this point in time, Mary was having probably a lot of problems making her way to Bethlehem on the back of a donkey. Donkeys are not the most evenly footed. Donkeys even get mad if they're not treated like they think they want to be treated. Donkeys are very emotional, just as some women are. Our Heavenly Father trusted Joseph with Mary. He trusted Joseph to help rear Jesus Christ, to protect Mary and Jesus. Joseph earned that trust because of his humility, his patience, and his willingness to comply with the Lord's will. Joseph exhibited all of the attributes because he was first a man of complete integrity. A man of complete integrity. Brothers and sisters, as we grow closer to this day of Christmas, I want to bear my testimony to you that I know Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God. I know that. What we're celebrating is a very special time in our lives where we acknowledge our Heavenly Father, where we acknowledge His Son, Jesus Christ, where we celebrate His birth, His life, His mission on the earth. May God bless us that we will have the Spirit of God with us, with the Spirit of Jesus Christ, to help us, to help train us, to help us teach our children and our families that we're going to be gathering together with this Christmas season. It's up to us as their parents to teach our children and our grandchildren the love of our Heavenly Father and the love of our Savior. May God bless us to that end. Folks, I bear you my testimony. I know Jesus is the Christ, the Son of the living God. I know that. With that testimony, I know you can find that out as well. I know that for a fact. May God bless us to be that kind of person that the Lord would have us to be. I love each and every one of you. Folks, I'm also asking you this night to share this program with everybody you know. Your family, your extended family, your social media contacts, the people you work with. Share it high and low. Everyone needs to know what happened here today. I promised you I would talk about what happened in the Pacific Northwest. There's a lot more than I'm even sharing with you. I came on the air late because of all kinds of problems. I showed you the majority of what I had prepared. May God bless us to be with us, to open our hearts to His Spirit. May we all have the spirit of Christmas with us in our homes. Let's make our house a home of love, of caring, compassion, and passion. Let's make sure our family knows who we really are, sons and daughters of God. May He bless us to that end. God be with you, brothers and sisters. We will be back here tomorrow night, and we'll be talking about emergency preparedness, and we'll also be talking more about Christmas. God be with you until we meet again. Have a great night, folks. I love you very much. I really do. Take care. Much love. We'll see you soon. God be with you till we meet again. Good night, everybody. Have fun.